welcome back to the Waffle Press Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Diego Crespo. Also a host is Gina Versa.
Hey.
Another host is Nick Valero.
Hey.
You guys know what today is?
It's the first show of the year.
Yeah, you know what year it is?
2018.
No. What? No, it's 2019. We're going to talk a little bit about our reaction to some award stuff going on this year. Because not that like it's the end-all, be-all of like movie qualifications and quality, but I think it's kind of interesting to talk about. And this season's very weird. It's kind of like my Super Bowl in that I watch it and I hate it. But I also want to talk a little bit about some Patreon announcements. We are removing commentaries for the time being. If by the powers that be and you guys watching and listening are able to support us in the long haul, we'll bring them back. But for now, we're going to replace them with something else. We're bringing back the Let's Talk About Movies. It's the one-on-one discussions where we talk about a movie that came out previously, something that someone's really passionate about in a positive or negative manner. A couple of those will start coming out before and after this episode's released. And for the same price as supporting a commentary, you get to choose what movie we get to talk about on Let's Talk About Movies, as long as we haven't talked about it before. So head over to the Patreon, check that out if you can. Possibly T-shirts and clothing and stuff like that, buttons, ribbons, merchandise. I don't know. With your help, this is all possible this year because we have goals, which are good to have. My therapist says. Yeah,
and we're gonna like completely overhaul it, so there could be like new things and new announcements as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That have yet to be announced.
So stay tuned. How was your guys' New Year's? I don't know why I said it like that.
New Year? Like, how's the New Year?
How was it new
How
this year?
How was my New Year's?
Year's, yes.
My New Year's was pretty good. It was really good. I had a good time. Had some fun. Got to do some bandaging because somebody got hurt. But yeah,
unfortunately,
It happens to the best of us. But I didn't see the hurt, so I was just inside.
He was like, "Oh, 3, 2," and he's like, "Where's Nick going?"
Yeah, no idea. But it was a good time. It was a good time.
My New Year was good. Yeah, my New Year is going great. I just spent it here with the person behind the camera, with Tracy. Thank you for helping.
Thank you. Anything else you guys want to plug in before we move on to the next segment? Because we actually have an interview with a buddy of ours. We call him Sebastian Fernandez, about one of his upcoming projects that he's a part of, ELLAY. And it'll be a nice little diversion from the usual stuff we talk about here. We'll get back to the regular show. But it is something we want to highlight because this year we really want to step forward and highlight people's voices in the community, either in front or behind the camera, critically, commercially, etc. Whatever. We want to highlight people that should have their voices heard in the industry. And so this interview is one of our first chances to do that this year. And so let's take it away.
This is a intro for this episode, and special guest here is my good friend Sebastian Fernandez.
Hey, how's it going?
And you're my roommate too.
I am. Sure am.
So Sebastian's just joining us to talk about a project that I was helping out, that he's crowdfunding. He's one of the brains behind it. It's called ELLAY, and seen this project grow and shape from the start, and I'm really impressed, and I'm really glad to see it's doing well.
Cool.
And I'm glad to have you on the show to help support it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, ELLAY is the story of Aiden Alvarez. He's an actor. He's Latinx. And we kind of go through his journey on becoming an actor that's up and coming in the industry, the pitfalls, the trials and tribulations. And we also are introduced to his best friend, Bernie Alba, who I play, and Bernie's cousin, Fia, who are artists in their own way. Bernie's a writer. Fia is trying to figure herself out right now. She just moved from Chicago, and she's trying to find out what she wants to do with her life. And then we also meet Rita, who is Aiden's on and off girlfriend, who he ends up actually marrying because of her DACA status. And so really the show is about representing Latin people in the industry in LA, appropriately, not in any type of stereotypical way.
Right.
And it's okay. It's made by people of color, for people of color, and it's about people of color. And that's the big thing that we're pushing right now, is that we're not represented the way we like to be.
Right.
So,
yeah, and I've been there. We talked a little bit. About this when you were telling me about the show. Where I'm me and Diego are Hispanic people in film and media, and that's I really relate to the story that you're trying to tell, and it's so great that you're doing that, because we also try to push that call for diversity and representation on this podcast.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And then it's would you say it's a lot of personal experiences as well?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. A lot of the stories are written with the experiences that we've had already in mind, the things that we've dealt with, family issues, relationship issues, career issues. I mean, it's pretty much based a lot on how our lives are, the things that we've done, the things that we've accomplished, losses, a lot of that.
Yeah, I love. Can I talk a little bit about the opening scene?
Sure.
I believe it's
Please.
the audition with Cruz.
Yeah.
And he goes into an audition room.
Yeah.
And he sees all the other actors, and they kind of have the same look as him.
Yeah.
Who thought of that scene?
I believe that was Cruz, and our writer for the first episode is Keenan Duke.
Whoever.
Shout out to Keenan. What's up, man? And I think that's something that, especially as an actor, you walk into a room and there are 10 other guys that look kind of similar to you, that are the breakdown is usually telling you what to wear, kind of, not exactly, but an idea, but within that range, everybody ends up wearing the kind of similar things, and so you look like, just it's like a cattle call.
Yeah, exactly. So you feel like,
you're just kind of like there, and you're just another clone that has to come in and do their own interpretation on the words.
Like an alternate skin in a video game.
Exactly. Yeah.
So. And can you talk a little bit about the talent? Because you talked about Keenan. Keenan directed The Road Not Taken, a film I was a producer on. But can you talk a little bit about some of the people that you have on this project?
Sure. So we've got myself and Cruz Castillo. Shout out to Cruz. What's up, dude? We are the original creators, and then we brought on Rosa Navarrete. She is also a co-creator for the show. She's helping bring to life a lot of the characters, a lot of a good perspective on Rita and her life and the things that she deals with, being DACA, being a woman in the industry, or a woman in any industry really. So then we've got Alicia Sixto, who is a producer. She's got a really great insight. She was helping us direct our sizzle reel. Yeah, she did a great job.
She was the cast member on the Hulu series Eastrail, right?
Yes, for a number of years, and she's really good. We've got Joanna Franco, who's also a producer. She's amazing, super talented person. We've got Antonio Rodriguez. He's our creative director. He's helping us with the look and feel of LA, and he's bringing just a lot of things that we, as artists in our own rights, we really couldn't actually achieve. Like, just if you follow us on our Instagram or our Facebook, a lot of his designs are there. The design of the banners for the show are there, and that was all him. What else? Who else? And then there's me, and then there's Cruz.
Of course, yeah.
And we're writing, we're directing. Yeah. We're not directing. We're acting definitely.
Yeah.
And we've got a great team.
Yeah.
Sorry if I missed some people, but we've got some great people on the show. Oh, we've got Kyle. We've got Kyle, our roommate, who just popped out of the bathroom.
There you go.
No, but he's our awesome DP, along with Daniel Kang, who's another awesome DP. They're going to be shooting the first 2 episodes, and they are wizards in their own right. They're doing magnificent things with the camera.
Exactly.
So we're really looking forward to it.
And really quick, winding down here. Yeah. What would you have if you could? What would you have people take away from just watching the show?
I think I want people to take away a sense of ownership to their stories. I want people to see that it is possible to have, people who are of different ethnicity, of different cultures, well represented in visual media and television and film, and web series and things like that. I think we have this wonderful culture that's diverse, and it even though it's completely different on all the spectrums, it's also very very much relatable.
Yeah, exactly. And it's Los Angeles. So you really capture that by having it be so diverse, because that's what the city is about.
Yeah, and I mean, at the root of it, there's still people. They're still going through the things that everybody goes through, but at the same time, it's just colored differently because we're from where everybody's from. We all have different backgrounds. We're raised differently, but at the same time, you still have a heartbreak and you still have, hope.
Exactly. And then, can you talk a little bit about the prizes that people could?
Prizes. The prizes are the bomb. Well, for first prizes are shout outs on social medias, and as it progress, it's let's see, they were
the Trump
toilet paper.
You could wipe your ass with that asshole.
You could wipe your ass with the asshole. You have a bag of hot Cheetos, a Mexican Coke.
Mexican
a
Coke.
A tote bag, a T-shirt.
Yeah.
So it's all these little great things. And then if you get into the high stuff, you could be an executive producer. I think somebody already filled that one out, so that's awesome. Thank you so much to Bex. I'll say shout out to her because she's an executive producer now. So
awesome.
Some of the great prizes.
Cool. And we'll put the description below, we'll put the link below right here. But where could people find you at?
You can find us on LA Series on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. We also have LA Writers on Twitter, and of course Seed and Spark. Please search for LA on Seed and Spark, and that is the best spot to join the LA team because we're a big family right now.
And lastly, where can people find you at specifically?
My handle is Sublime88 on Instagram, and then Sebastian Fernandez on Facebook, or Sublime88 on Twitter as well.
Awesome, cool, man.
Yeah.
Everyone at the Waffle Press wishes you the best of luck. And,
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.
So, wasn't that great? That's unironic because that is actually great. And I'm really excited to checking out that series in the long run.
Man, you should really sound more enthused about it, man. You just did it.
I just had a long week. I'm actually very excited. They're good friends of ours and roommates of one of ours.
Yes.
But we're very excited for them, and we'll put a link down below if you're listening on YouTube or SoundCloud to go check out their Seed and Spark campaign. You can get rewards and how to help. Even if you can't spare any change, that's okay. Spread the word and get it out there. Your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc.
Yes, please do.
But moving on to the rest of the show now, we're going to talk a little bit about some movies that I like. Not so much. Things happen behind the scenes, and you know what? That's okay.
This is what happens when we hire a new intern.
No. So this award season's been kind of weird because generally there's some movies that you can kind of figure, well, that'll sweep.
Yeah.
Like Star is Born came out, and that's weird because it usually ticks all the boxes of like, well, that's Academy friendly. It's a musical. It's musical. It's kind of about the industry. It's about the music industry, but it's also low key about Hollywood.
It's also
fame.
about like overcoming some form of like problem, like drug use or like alcoholism. Right?
Yeah.
Usually those are shoo-ins.
Yeah, but it's weird because this is like an actually really good movie, I think, and I'm surprised that it's and so I'm surprised that Star is Born didn't like sweep every award from high heaven.
That's fine.
It's all about Lady Gaga.
No, but that's fine though. I do think that it's because I want them to go against like what we automatically thought. That was the main idea. Is like as soon as Star was born, I was like, oh, this is gonna fucking take.
Generally, I would agree with that, but then like Bohemian Rhapsody and Green Book sweeping everything.
I don't see Bohemian Rhapsody. I hope it doesn't win.
I think now
it won some awards already.
Depending on what happens the day this is recorded, it's the SAG Awards. Depending on what it wins here, did the Producers Guild already happen?
We could check.
So.
Do you mind checking while I talk this out?
I don't believe so. But
okay, Producers Guild and Screen Actors Guild. What wins at those? No, Screen Actors Guild is the day of recording this.
Okay.
So
depending on what wins there, you can kind of determine what's going to win in the long run.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Green Book won Best Film at the Producers Guild Award, which is maybe worse than Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know, but not only just because those are like poorly made movies, like from a scene to scene,
yes, they
like
are.
Perspective.
Green Book won a lot at Producers Guild,
and they're nominated for stuff like editing, which confirms my theory that no one actually watches anything in the editing categories.
I'm an editor, so I'm like, what? What was the Other Side of the Wind for editing? Or
Other Side of the Wind should have swept editing this award season too. But like this is away from my personal like preference on Star is Born and stuff like that. Like that's not even like my top 10 movies of the year. I think it's just a really good awards contender movie.
Yeah, of course.
I'm surprised that people are like dying on the hills of Bohemian Rhapsody and Green Book.
Bohemian Rhapsody stands, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it was like a rapist got credited as director of that movie or anything like that. Or it's not like Rami Malek's doing an impersonation and not like acting. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I don't know. I'm very upset about it.
Yeah, I am too, because it's like, that movie is not very good. Like, it doesn't honor Freddie's legacy at all. It's very problematic in how it deals with his queerness in the movie and the way it presents it. Like, it's like, man, who thought, like, having Bryan Singer, like, direct this movie would have been...
Well, not only that, but also I think the guys from Queen heavily influenced a lot of
it. Okay. Well, yeah, so we'll say it right now.
They heavily influenced
Freddie May is like a piece of shit.
Brian May?
Brian May, excuse me.
Yeah, the surviving members of Queen can honestly kind of go fuck themselves. I'm sorry.
They're the ones. So I wish the Sacha Baron Cohen thing could happen.
No, because Sacha Baron Cohen. That's the whole reason why Sacha Baron Cohen's thing didn't go on.
Yeah,
because he wanted to be a lot more. He wanted to be way closer to what exactly was going on.
Yeah, no. Well, I was going to say that they wanted to kill Freddie off in the first act. Which, if you're seeing like a Queen movie,
wasn't it the last act?
No.
Really?
It was like the first act or the middle of the second act, like way before. Yeah. And it's like, who wants to see that? And it's like, who wants to see a movie without Freddie Mercury? But yeah, it's just like so problematic and
that is vastly different.
Yeah, even separated from like everything else that's currently going on.
Because I mean, like, look at the previous year, like. Obviously, like, all Hollywood politics are bullshit, but, like, when there's a statement being made about, like, time's up and stuff like that, it's like, oh, yeah, next year, Bryan Singer's movie's going to be a front runner for Best Picture. It's just, like, the tone deafness of the people in charge of the Academy is beyond baffling.
And it's like, it's so, I don't know. Naive to think we were past this, but
yeah. Like I don't think we were past it yet. Yeah. But the fact that it's made such like a testament to the case of things at the moment is troubling. And how Green Book was written by like a Trump supporter and someone who made up lies about a black dude and his family.
Mm-hmm. And the family's like fighting against.
Yeah. And it's really gross. And I thought it was important to talk about that stuff in this episode.
I mean, there are some like really good candidates,
Well, yeah.
I mean,
Black Panther up for Best Picture, which
man.
Yeah, let's talk about some better things.
I guess that's the thing. It's like there are good candidates for sure, but it's like all the stuff overshadowed it with all those people winning. So it's like
I'm okay with them getting nominated. I just don't think that they should win.
I think
because they're not good movies.
No. Even like apart from that, because really. That's always going to be subjective,
sure.
regardless of the case. Yeah. But I think
you think it's a bad movie, but other people might.
If you've never seen a movie before, I get you like liking them.
Yeah,
but be like, oh, they can do that. They can put pictures together and they sound like that. It's so interesting.
But
I guess the reason why they Bohemian Rhapsody was disqualified for some award like yesterday because of the Bryan Singer allegations,
which is now a report.
And people are asking for the Academy to do that. And I don't think that's the wrong move. I think,
it's a morally right
that should be the case. Because you're allowing these people to have a presence in the industry. And Bryan Singer was fired before he finished directing the film. But his name's still attached to it. And he's still getting accommodations for it. And he still has directing jobs
He's still
lined
posting
up.
on Instagram about it.
And you have the surviving members of Queen thanking him for everything he did for the movie, and it's like, look, this was the wrong move. Like, there are rules in place, but it sends a bad message, and sometimes rules don't always help the people like they're supposed to.
Yeah, but you can always just hope that the right move is taken.
I hope so. I believe that they will lose.
I hope so.
Especially because of all the negative backlash that's been happening as they've been accumulating these awards.
Yeah. Give it to Black Panther.
I hate to I don't mean to linger on, but was you said the vibe in the Golden Globes as soon as it won was just...
I heard that the vibe there when
Bohemian
Rhapsody won was just like everyone was like, ooh.
Like it was like quiet.
Yeah, there was not an arousing applause, not like when Guillermo del Toro won at the Oscars last year where everyone was like, that guy
He definitely. Well,
you don't even like. It wasn't even my favorite movie of the year, but it's like he's a true artist. He loves a lot of his stuff, and he deserved it for his work.
Yeah.
Some other stuff I want to talk about. Spike Lee getting Best Picture, Best Director for Black Klansman. It's a Spike Lee softball, but a Spike Lee softball still really well directed.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this like as a legacy award.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, he may do the right thing. He's not a slouch, you know. I didn't think he pulled off everything he could have here.
I do think that what's his name? Denzel Washington's kid. I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right
now.
Yeah,
and him and Adam Driver do an amazing job.
John David Washington. He's really good in the movie.
No, he is. He is fantastic in that movie, and he does an amazing job. And I mean, I was on a plane, and it got really, like, I was watching it and going like, man, this is a really hard movie to watch on a plane. Not because it's like slow or anything like that, but it tackles a lot of like really tense, tense and heavy issues that you're just kind of going, oh man, I'm gonna have to sit in here. I'm gonna have to sit and deal with this right now.
Roma. Alfonso Cuarón, Best Director and Best Cinematography, and Yalitza Aparicio, the lead actress, first Indigenous Mexican woman to be nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
So hell yeah after that. A movie I still haven't seen, but it's like my favorite living director, so I'm pretty sure I'll like it.
Yeah.
Here's some interesting stuff that I just came out of completely left field for me.
Okay. Yorgos
Lanthimos, the director of The Favorite.
That was good. You saw it?
I like The Favorite a lot.
I'm so glad you saw it.
So Yorgos Lanthimos, The Favorite, is making like a lot of like waves, and I'm like amazed. His movies are very dry, and like their sense of humor is very dark and bleak, and I'm okay with it. Like, I'm happy it's getting like all this recognition, but
you didn't like the previous film he did, Killing of a Sacred Deer.
No, I like Killing of a Sacred Deer. I wasn't crazy about The Lobster. Like, I got what it was going for. I was like, it's not my kind of movie. I can recognize that it's well made. I don't care about it.
It's not your favorite tip.
Yeah, I don't know, but this I love The Favorite,
it's
and
great.
I'm surprised this is the one that's like getting recognition
because it's like in old English. They kind of speak in old English.
And it's like so weird and dark and like erotic and fucked up.
Yeah, and what's her name's what's her name's great? Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz is awesome. Emma Stone is great.
So many like good like gifs and memes from that movie too.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great meme movie.
And so her name I can't recall from Hot Fuzz.
Oh, I'm looking. I was trying to look it up before you brought it up. Olivia Colman.
Olivia Colman
is fantastic.
She's like, "Be quiet! I'm commanded."
Her yelling. There are clips of just her yelling throughout the movie.
It's on Twitter,
and it's the best.
Yeah.
Some other stuff I want to highlight: At Eternity's Gate, a movie I have not seen yet, but it's Willem Dafoe as Vincent Van Gogh, from the director of The Diving Bell and the Butterfly.
I've been wanting to watch that.
I really want to watch that movie.
Also,
really bad.
I really like him as like an actor.
Oh yeah,
he's great. He's great as Valko.
It's Willem fucking Dafoe.
He was in Aquaman, and he played Vincent Van Gogh. Give him the Oscar. Christian Bale, your boy from Vice.
Yeah, he's great as Dick Cheney, I guess.
Bradley Cooper. Glenn Close as the wife, or in The Wife. I don't know. Is she the wife in the movie? I haven't seen it. In The Wife.
She's a wife.
She's a wife.
I haven't seen The Wife.
Congrats to her. I wish her and her spouse happy tidings. Lady Gaga, it's so weird. Like, I'm not married to the idea of her getting the Oscar. Like, I'm not demanding it. But it was just so bizarre that it was not like just a straight shot. Given this award season, she
already has a Grammy, and then I think she also has a Golden Globe.
She could get an EGOT.
She could, right?
She has to get a Tony Award though.
That's the only thing she's missing, right?
After she wins an Oscar for this.
Has anyone gotten that?
EGOT, yeah. There's a couple people.
There's a couple people. I know the other person that's aiming for it is Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, he didn't get anything.
One day.
He didn't get anything from Mary Poppins.
He will.
One day he totally will, yeah.
I'm actually kind of surprised that Mary Poppins also isn't up there. I really liked it.
I haven't seen it.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, but I don't know.
I have to see the original, and I've made a vow for myself to never watch.
What do you mean you need to see the original?
Rob Marshall movies in theaters.
What do you mean you need to see the original? I saw the original with you.
There's no way.
In elementary school, they used to show it all the time.
I have no recollection of it.
Diego
on like rainy days.
I blocked it out because I went to elementary school.
On rainy days.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
We probably did. I just have nothing. I remember watching The Great Mouse Detective.
That's a good,
that's a good movie.
When they remake that eventually, because they'll remake like everything from their catalog.
Oh no!
I just hope they do if they remake The Black Cauldron, then it'll be worth it.
I also need to watch that.
It's the best-
To
it's the
wrap it
best
up, other
80s
stuff
Disney movie.
I think is really interesting. Pawlikowski for Cold War, a movie that I really want to check out.
Did you see it? I have a screener for it.
I'm surprised he
Sitting
got
there.
Best Director. I've heard great buzz for this movie, but he got Best Director, which is like shocking to me because it's just a little independent foreign film. No big push. It just kind of evolved into this, and that's really interesting. Melissa McCarthy, happy for her getting Best Actress nom, and I don't know anything else interesting to you guys. What do you wish was nominated before we move on?
I was actually really happy that the Isle of Dogs got a nomination.
Really?
The Isle of Dogs.
All right. I love Wes Anderson. That's like my least favorite.
So for Oscar noms,
Oscar noms. What do you wish had gotten nominated? Like if you had one movie from last year, you're like this like was your pick.
Oh, I thought which one? I actually was thinking Aquaman was probably going to get nominated just for special effects.
That is stunning that it didn't.
Because the Suicide Squad got it. I mean,
Suicide. So fucking stupid.
no, hold on. But that,
no.
Academy
I'm
Award
saying,
winning Suicide
I'm
Squad.
agreeing with you.
Like I thought you were disagreeing with me. I was like,
you're totally right.
Like the Suicide Squad wins an Oscar for special effects, and there was like a giant portal in the sky.
No,
What the
I
fuck
want
happens
to
when
remind
it's an entire-
everyone. You brought this up. Shame on you for reminding me of this. Star Trek Beyond created 50 new alien species for their 50th anniversary of their Star Trek movie.
Yep.
You see all the practical effects and the VFX mesh on display, and Suicide Squad got the Oscar that year. We have to live with that.
But the thing is that I remember watching, when I was watching Aquaman, some of the stuff that James Wan was doing was amazing. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Work that they were doing with special effects.
It's like they were clearly going for like an Avatar type thing.
Yeah.
But they needed like another 100. They needed James Cameron money, and they didn't have it, but they got close. I think.
Yeah. They got really. I mean, I'll give you that. Some of the stuff there was like parts where you were like, oh, that could have taken like another 2 through.
I will say for a few things that bugged me for the nominations were I think Johan Johansson should have got something for Mandy.
Yeah, shame on them for not giving him that posthumous
with
nomination.
His passing, mid-90s, I would have. I think Catherine Watterson is really good in that movie.
Catherine Watterson's good in everything, and I'm a big fan.
Yeah, documentary, the Mr. Rogers documentary, which
that's
My Neighbor. That was baffling.
That's the one documentary that everyone saw.
Made everyone cry.
Get nominated. That's crazy.
Yeah, and First Man, I felt like cinematography or like production design.
Was it not nominated for cinematography?
No.
Oh my god!
It wasn't nominated for anything, or like score. I thought was really well done. Production design.
These are pretty good nominations.
They are,
but that's
to be totally honest. I actually really wanted Halloween for score.
Yeah. Come on.
It's.
But I mean, I guess we've got to remember these are horror genre stuff, and so they were never gonna get love.
But come on, man!
I agree with you.
Unless you're like the Exorcist.
They're dumb like rules and adherences that they got.
That's a really dumb rule of like, oh yeah, it's a horror film. And if anything,
well, it's not a rule, but you know that's
but
kind of
if
what
anything,
they go
that
by.
movie isn't even like I wouldn't even consider that movie horror. It's like
don't do that.
It's a lot closer to horror.
No, it's a horror movie. There's nothing wrong with it being a horror movie. Jesus.
Hey man,
I will beat you to death on camera. No, okay.
At least there's evidence.
Yeah.
So yeah, but those are the only things that I could think of like right off the top of my head.
Okay.
That bugged me.
You know what? You know what I am surprised.
Those are good ones.
I am surprised Venom wasn't nominated for special
Venom?
effects.
Yeah.
If Suicide Squad is up there, then why not?
Venom is Tracy's favorite movie of last year.
Venom is a good time if you have alcohol or Monster Energy drink in your system. Then it's awesome, right, Kyle? Yeah.
There you go.
We got to move on. A lot of Oscar talk. I thought it was important to talk about what was bullshit and some stuff that was the other side of the wind should have been up for a bunch of stuff. That's it. That's all I'll say.
Is that it?
We could have a whole
we gotta
podcast
move on.
about
We got to
that.
move on, and I apologize for
We
making
could have
that
a
take
whole
longer.
podcast about that. All
right. So January. It is a month of movies where many of them are often bad, but sometimes we get some nice little treats hidden away with the tricks. Mm-hmm. Do you like that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Good job.
I saw Escape Room. We're going to talk about M. Night Shyamalan's Glass in a minute, but I want to talk about Escape Room just really quick because that's like a minute long.
I really want to watch it. Like it's the next movie on my list of movies I need to watch.
Escape Room is solid.
Mm-hmm. Better than the last Saw.
It is way better than the last Saw.
Or Jigsaw.
It's way better than Jigsaw too.
Yeah.
Jigsaw is one of the last movies I reviewed for Audiences Everywhere. R.I.P. Shout out to everyone still writing. And that was awful. It was really bad. This is the best Saw sequel since like Saw 6.
Saw 6.
And before that, like Saw 3.
I think I caught 5 to 10 minutes of it when I went to go see the Dragon Ball Z movie.
Escape Room?
Yeah, like I was passing by after the showing ended, and it was like, I think it was like the last like 10 to 15 minutes. So I started watching it, and I was like, this looks really interesting.
Escape Room is solid. Nothing remarkable, but the director, I don't know who they were, has a keen eye. They have a nice sense of pacing and escalation. They got potential. I like Escape Room.
Yeah.
If you want just a nice, solid little January movie.
Yeah. I'm glad. What's her name? Deborah Ann Wool from Daredevil is finally like in like a good like show.
Underutilized, but only because she's not the lead.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, the best January movie is the Dragon Ball Z movie.
Oh,
it was the best.
Well, here, do you want to talk about it for a second?
Yeah, it was the best. I mean, if you're honestly going to, which I would go about it, I think it was really good. I mean, it made you not only give a shit about Goku's backstory and it changed up everything else, but they actually made
without spoiling anything.
Yeah, they changed up, but they also made Brawley a compelling character where you actually care.
Right, in the original, he's just yelling and screaming.
Well, in the original, they gave him a really dumb reason on why exactly he was mad.
Because Goku's crying.
Yeah,
that's his thing. Goku kept crying as a baby when they were like.
But the idea is that Brawley didn't. No, but in this one, they made the idea of Brawley had no idea. He's a very kind-hearted soul, and he doesn't want to fight, and he doesn't like to fight. He's kind of like Gohan in a way, and he just has like this like power inside of him that he can't control. And like when he gets angry or when he feels like he's in danger, like it comes out and stuff like that. And he's just an unstoppable force.
Right. It's interesting that Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, like, because there are some interesting arcs in the original. It's interesting, like, he's like, oh man, I need development in these characters. And, like, when he's revisited for, like, Dragon Ball Super, I really appreciated how much he's, like, added to the lore. Well, the idea... Because he's really done a very good job with that.
The cool thing is that it's like when he was making this one, they were trying to decide who exactly it was, and he knew that Brawley had such a inherent, like, fan base.
Yeah.
And everybody really liked him.
He's just an interesting character.
Yeah, he's an interesting character, but the problem is that he was never part of canon.
Yeah,
nobody
all the movies are not.
Yeah, canon. All the movies have their own canon.
So these movies are not part of the established series.
The last 3 that have come out have all been part of the established series. These have all taken place in the world.
The original Dragon Ball Z.
The original Dragon Ball into Dragon Ball Z movies all took place in their own little canon.
Oh, okay.
So because these movies take place and they call back to other movies. But the show never calls back to the movies. So
continuity was never a part of the original show.
Because the thing is that Toriyama never took place in any of the discussions. He just drew a bunch of designs.
And then he approved stuff, I guess.
Yeah, then he would just approve things. But he would never come up with story. Yeah. And then when he
That's how Dragon Ball GT got approved.
Oh,
he backed up by that point. He had just kind of like given the rights, and he was just like, okay, I'm not going to get involved.
Oh, he David Lynched it.
He very much
Where he was like, I got to leave.
And then Super came out because he came back, and he was like, wow, this is a dog pile. I gotta
and then he comes back. Oh, that's exactly what happened to David Lynch. David Lynch's anime.
Yeah, but anyway, so what ended up happening was that he basically went into GT and was like, "Oh, what are the good parts?" and like took them out and was just like, "Okay, cool. I'll throw Gohan as a baby. All right, I'll throw that in there." And,
there are some good parts of GT.
Really cool. That's kind of cool.
For Broly,
but Broly is a really interesting character, and you really care about him, and by the end of the movie, like, you kind of don't want him to die or anything like that.
Without spoiling anything.
Yeah, without spoiling anything. But I mean, like, in general, like, you're kind of like, I don't, like, he's not in the wrong, but Goku's also not in the wrong. There's, like, it's a weird thing, it's just a...
So for people like me, because I do like Dragon Ball Z, I just don't have an attachment to it.
Yes.
Should they check it out?
I would definitely recommend...
Would they be okay?
I think you could check it out, because I went with Justin, and Justin hadn't seen any of the other ones, and I just...
He's a fan there, right?
He had watched Dragon Ball and everything like that, and I gave him like a brief rundown.
Imagine honestly, going in there with no knowledge. Honestly, like if we take Diego there,
I'll just be like, hold on, everyone.
But the funny thing was that, like, I can't even say you have to watch the first 2 movies, because they introduced something that happened in the series. like the end of, because it comes after the end of Super. So also if you are watching
and
Super,
we're not, and the dub isn't caught up, right?
Yeah, if you're watching Super dubbed, it spoils a lot of what happens in the end.
You know, they could watch
Super.
they could watch it on
They can watch
Crunchyroll.
the Crunchyroll version and everything like that because that has the full one. But yeah, it does spoil.
So you'd
Super
recommend it?
I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
it.
I really enjoyed it. I would definitely go see it again. I would definitely buy it on DVD. Also, it made Goku's parents actual, humans. And like,
were they not before?
No. Like they made them like
he didn't have
tangible.
a mom.
He didn't like. You never met his mom. She was in the anime. His dad basically like looked at him, checked his power level, and was like, "Oh, he's
you're good, son. Send him off."
And he left. But this one was much more of like
they're characters.
Yeah, like they're actual characters and they care.
Yeah.
And like they're the ones that do certain things, and it's like, oh, okay, and they're like, well, what about if like this yada yada da happens? It's like, oh, well then I'll just go solve it. It's not that big of a deal, right? And stuff like that. So it made sense.
You sold me on the fact that the original version, they're just like, you check them out, they're like, you're good, son, good luck in life, because that sounds just like that sounds like some Greek mythology shit.
Call back.
It's very
Bulma's house.
Oh yeah, that's the only thing I ever remember from Dragon Ball. Before we move on to the glass discussion, the only memory I have like of a full scene on that show is when Goku, little kid Goku, is walking around with his little monkey tail, gets into a cab, and he's like, I'd like to go to Bulma's house, please. Yeah. And the taxi driver's like, oh, where's that, kid? I don't know yet. Bulma's house.
You'll figure it out. Just have the meet already.
Yeah, and that's the funniest thing ever.
Really quick, my recommendation for January. Nick, you're good on January?
Yeah, I'm good on January.
I would really recommend the Fire documentary on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Because the Fire Festival was just like... It's just the epitome of, well, besides the Trump administration, the epitome of, like, incompetence and, like, just how far incompetence could go if you just keep bullshitting.
Also, I would definitely watch...
Did you see it?
I would watch the Netflix one.
No, that's what I recommended.
Yeah, I know, and not watch the Hulu one. The Hulu one is... It's kind of okay. Like, they go into certain things, but you can kind of tell that, yes, there is two documentaries.
Right.
And one documentary got way more access than the other documentary.
Which is Netflix?
Netflix got way more access.
And they have Ja Rule.
Yeah, like they actually got like certain people and everything like that. Whereas the Hulu one, they didn't get the people that were in charge. They didn't do anything else. They got like kind of like the bare minimum of like what's going on. So
Ja Rule is portrayed just so like he doesn't come off well. No one comes off well. I feel bad for the manager because there's a scene. I'm gonna get a little raunchy here. So, because it shows like how did this get made, and it's on Twitter and it's on YouTube. If like the clip, you get a clip.
I'm aware.
Where the manager of this, he believed in I believe his name Billy.
Yeah. He
believed in Billy like from like a young age, and he's mentoring him, and he was just like his mentor, and then he tells him like, okay, because there's stuff like nothing is getting done. There's no running water on the island, no water. They have to get it approved. And like the guy that does it, apparently he goes to the manager's office. Billy does, and he's like, "All right, you have to take one for the team." It's like, "Well, what do I have to do?" It's like you have to go to this land. It's like
you're talking about the customs agent.
The customs agent.
He's a customs agent.
Yeah, the customs agent.
And
he's like, "Dude, we need this water, and you have to take one for the team." He's like, "Okay." You have to suck his dick. So then the guy's like, oh man, he's like, really? It's like, yeah, you have to do it. So like, he's just like, he goes to his room.
He was down to do it.
Yeah, he's down to do it. He brushes his teeth. He puts mouthwash. He like, I guess, he drives all the way out there. And then the customs agent, he's like, and then he tells him like, are you ready? He's like, no, I was messing with him. And he's like, I was just messing with him. Like, you could just have the water. Just make sure like I'm the first one to get paid. And he's like, okay. And then he goes back and he takes the water back. And it's just like he was fully prepared to do that for this Fire Festival. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. And that's the epitome of the Fire Festival.
But that's the thing, though, is that what I'm talking about, like the Netflix one has that story.
Has that story, yeah.
But the Hulu one doesn't.
Yeah,
And the Hulu one doesn't, well, because like also Netflix got the idea, got the whole thing of, oh yeah, like they had Pablo Escobar's Island. And they were going to do it on Pablo Escobar's Island. But the idea was that the owner of the island, he doesn't want it to be known as Pablo Escobar's Island. He's like, I want to like separate.
Can't imagine why.
I want to separate it from like all the coke and everything like that. And then he was like, he goes, please, whatever you do not advertise it as Pablo Escobar's Island.
And what does he do?
And the first commercial they cut.
The Instagram man.
Thank you. Come visit Pablo Escobar's Island. and
damn.
immediately they saw
Billy.
it and they kicked him off the island
Yep.
and stuff like that. Like a story like that was not in the Hulu
Yeah.
one. So
And-
like the Hulu one is missing a lot.
And it
of,
makes
like,
you really nervous.
things.
When I was watching it, I was just like so nervous. Like it makes you
me
tense.
nervous. I honestly, I thought it was
like-
cathartic.
It's good. Yeah, it makes it really sums up like the last decade.
I thought it was cathartic.
Yeah, and
I was like,
yeah,
alright.
just I'll end it with like, and the guy Billy, like, without spoiling anything, he's still frauding people, and it shows just like no one learned anything.
Oh God!
Because now he's like emailing people, trying to scam them on like get exclusive tickets. So yeah, we're pretty
Well,
out of time,
that's-
but I would recommend it.
January's been a weird month for everyone, huh?
Exactly.
But moving on, the last little discussion of the day is about M. Night Shyamalan's Glass. Gene and I got to go to a trilogy screening. I
At
saw
Beyond
it
Fest?
at Beyond Fest.
Great people.
Yeah, great people. Saw it with our buddy Andrew Salazar, and I got to watch it again one more time after. And
Yeah, and we have a non-spoiler discussion on it. You could also listen to on our channel.
Go check it out.
yeah.
Yeah,
So Nick,
so.
you're the most recent one to have seen it.
Yes.
When did you watch it, and what did you think?
I think I watched it a week ago. I think I watched it about a week ago. I sat on it because when I walked out of the movie theater, I did not like it.
Oh,
I did not like the movie. You know what? But the thing is that the entire movie, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
So
I'm
is
like,
the twist?
I love this movie. I love it and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know there's a twist because it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie. It's gonna come. I just gotta figure out where it is. And the only problem is that I just didn't like the twist. I just didn't like it, and I also thought like what happens to a couple of the characters. I was like, that's like, why would you do that? Like,
so spoilers.
Well, here, let me say his
like
piece.
but like, why would you do that to a couple of characters? Like those like you framed him as like a hero. You wanted him to be a hero and everything like that, and just the way that you kind of put him out is, just kind of like throwing out the garbage and stuff like that. Like it's just not a very heroic death, and it kind of in a way is kind of means nothing, and you're just kind of like, all right.
Do you feel like that was the point though?
No, but I mean, I guess that was kind of the point. But I for me, I wanted a little bit more. And even if like I get, he died that way because that's his weakness. But I thought if it was something like he just couldn't heal back from something, or like he did it to stop somebody or anything like that. Because just not to get into spoilers or anything like that. But I mean,
I think we can, right?
Or
Kyle?
she hasn't seen it.
Oh no!
she hasn't seen it.
No. Do you want to?
All right.
She's like, fuck it, do it.
Well, then we gotta go because I feel like
I feel like this is the movie. This is the only movie I like. It's really hard to like figure out and decide about like without like spoiling it and kind of talking about
we'll
it.
finish your non-spoiler thoughts, and I'll say my non-spoiler thoughts, and then we'll just have at it.
But yeah, that was my only thing. Is I really did. I really enjoyed it, and I really liked that the concept of it, and I actually really did like the idea of they're all just mentally insane. Like they just believe. Like their belief is enough to make them have these powers.
Yeah, I don't think they're insane. Like
no, but I liked the concept of that, because that's what they're kind of
That's what it's interpreted.
That's what they're trying to interpret and everything like that. And then the ending of like, they really are like supers and stuff like that is really cool.
They're metahumans.
Yeah, they're really metas, but I just didn't like the way that the characters went out. I just really did not like it.
You didn't agree with that?
I didn't agree with it, and I was like, I hate it. I really hate this. Like the entire ending, the entire time, I was like, oh well, he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back. Like it's gonna be. It's a fake out. It's gonna be a double.
It's fine.
It's gonna be a double thing and everything like that, and it just didn't happen. When I left, I was actually like really irritated. I was like, I did not like that. Like it didn't sit well with me at all.
I had a weird viewing experience because coming off of Unbreakable, which is maybe the greatest film ever made, I've come to terms with my belief of.
It's one of my
it's so fucking good. Split, one of my favorite movies, like period. Now, rewatching it with the crowd too, I found myself in tears at the end.
I will say it's like a great viewing experience as a trilogy.
Yeah,
it really works.
Say that too.
It really does.
And like the similarities between like Split and Unbreakable are like they're the same movie. They're structured the exact same. They're moments that take place at the same times
in the same locations.
Unbreakable, and it's in the same locations, and it's just insane that he was telling us it was an Unbreakable spinoff while we were watching it without us ever
He was
realizing
telegraphing it. If
yeah,
you really
and he was totally telegraphing it. But every 15 minutes when Glass started,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I like this, and I was like, I don't know if I like this. I swear to God, every 15 to 20 minutes, I went through this pattern. I don't know if oh, that's where we're going. Okay, whew,
Yeah.
comfortable now. And then I was
That's
like,
what was
I don't
happening.
know about this. I don't know. Oh, okay, now I'm cool.
Yeah.
And I did that all the way to the end, and then I was like, do I? Yeah, no, I like it. But because of that, I was like, I definitely need to watch it again because I'm just like exhausted emotionally from the previous two movies and Moments of Glass.
Yeah, we did have some
But also
breaks.
because like I just didn't know because I was trying to work out how I felt while the movie was going on. So I was like,
it's a lot
okay,
to take in.
that's a lot. Let's take it back. And then I watched it later, and then I was like, oh, what a dumb little boy I was. I liked it so much. You're not dumb for not liking it. I'm just like, no. I think there are legitimate complaints. I think in terms of like his filmmaking, out of the three, it's Shyamalan's weakest. Not bad, just like what he did with like Split and Unbreakable. Like his camera movements are so like natural, and there's like a real sense of style. But like it's telling a story in a way that Glass doesn't always. There's plenty of it in Glass, but it feels more compressed. Maybe that's the point. I'm still working out feelings, as you can tell.
I actually did think that it was really interesting that M. Night Shyamalan put so much thought into his own cameo. That he was the same person in all three movies.
Yeah, I didn't really care.
And it was like it was a transfer where he was the guy that was trying to sneak drugs or a gun into the movies into it, and then he became a landlord, and he was the landlord of the lady that ended up dying in Split.
It was like that was too like
no,
tip
you know
of the
what?
hat.
I actually like that because you see the positive impact David Dunn has had. On the
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a wink, wink, thanks, fans.
Yeah,
but it's also like look at the positive stuff he's done for people.
Yeah, he has
respect.
I will say, I guess some of the dialogue in that was really like bad. Hammy, yeah.
Hammy. Yeah, there's a moment where they're talking about Salt Bay and like the first 15 minutes of the movie, and I was like, all right, Sean, you're not fucking. The kids like you. You don't need to prove it to anyone anymore. Yeah. Everyone likes you again.
I did think that was a. I chuckled at the M. Night Shyamalan's his cameo. I really did chuckle.
I did.
I chuckled because
but it was hammy.
It was hammy, but I really did chuckle where like they're having a conversation that he's not privy to.
Yeah.
And like he's just like, oh, I'm going for a walk, and it's like, oh, do you just let your dad go for a walk? What's wrong with you? Like that's why I started laughing. I was like, oh, that's.
I'm so glad they brought back the actor that played his son in the first one. He's an established actor.
I'm actually really happy that what was it? He had the foresight, not necessarily the foresight, but he luckily had enough footage where he could go ahead and go, oh, I'm going to use a deleted scene and use it as like an impactful moment.
Which was their like. I think that's on the DVD. The scene between
there's like 30 minutes of deleted scenes in Unbreakable, and 15 minutes of them are in Glass.
I have the DVD. If
like
you guys
he already had 15 minutes.
Some
in the
great
can
special
when he
features
started.
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then
So let's just talk about it. Spoilers.
Are you
galore? All right, thank you.
Sure?
At the very end, she's gonna be like,
"Oh, what the fuck?"
So yeah, no, I really did like it. But I think that I know that
So the twist?
I think the twist should have been maybe as telegraphed as Signs.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? If that makes sense, where what was it? Like there is a secret organization and stuff like that. Like there should have been like little tiny like shamrocks.
There was where Sarah Paulson, because I like that you think Mr. Glass is going to be the antagonist, but he's not. He's like a protagonist. Where Sarah Paulson was the antagonist this whole time because it's like the way they treat it. She treats everyone is just like really terrible, and then the way she's like it's a great commentary on like a lot of treatment of mental health and the way it's like tucked under the rug or it's not discussed enough, because I feel how you're saying like the institution you're assuming the secret society spoiler wasn't set up. I really disagree where the secret society is institutions like mental institutions or just people that treat mental health in a terrible way. I feel that was never like the secret society is his commentary on just how the like abused or people that are different are treated. So they might as well be a secret society where it's just like they have all this power in the way they treat people, put people down. So that's my point.
But the idea of having a secret society is that, they, not necessarily that you have to telegraph it or anything like that, because I wouldn't want him to do that. I would at least hope that there was like little tiny like clues.
I feel like there probably is if you really.
I don't know if there are.
No, because
but I'm on the flip side of Nick. Go ahead and say your point. But I'm on the flip side.
The thing is that like they have that scene where they end up killing off Kevin.
Everyone.
They kill off everyone.
Well, I mean, but the scene where he shoots Kevin and then like it pans and then it just holds on his wrist, and like you see the shamrock and you're kind of like,
was that bullseye?
Yeah, but that was the thing though, is that he circled in on it to tell you, because when Sarah Paulson shows it, he wants that there's more meaning to it, and it's kind of like he didn't know how to end it, and then he came up with an ending and like was just like, okay, there's a secret society.
And from what I read, this is the ending that he's always wanted, right?
Yeah, that's also the case, and I get why you'd feel that way. But I also think because of what the trilogy is ultimately about, Unbreakable is about people finding out who they really are, and like how Elijah, Mr. Glass, he's felt the need to feel like he needs a place in the world, because he's like, well, like he felt like a mistake. He felt like society had no place for him, and in becoming a supervillain, he found one, and that's sad that he had to go to that length. Like Unbreakable is a tragic fucking movie, and then Split is about believing what you believe you are. The Beast is a villain, but it's about the power of belief, and it's sad that Kevin had to become this monster to protect himself. It's the scene that always gets you. It's 2014. When Kevin starts asking if it's still September 8th, 2014, it's just brutal. And he tells her where to get the gun so she can kill him, and it's just so sad. Yeah. And Glass is about them all coming to terms with their identity and wanting to be not just understood but accepted in the world. And so the finale of Glass is... Shyamalan's not a literal filmmaker, and I think if people keep walking away from his movies, not that you're watching this wrong, I don't want to put off your opinion or anything, I'm just saying, like, I find this as a common criticism in a lot of his work, that if you walk away from his movies literally, that's how you get stuff like the Doug Walker reviews and stuff like that. Because it's not a literal interpretation like there's a secret society. It's just the idea that these people are being suppressed for who they are. And it's not that there's good or bad. Like, all that stuff is nebulous. There are good and bad people everywhere. It's about them wanting to be, like, accepted and have a place in the world. Yeah. And by them being confined, like, there's a reason why it takes place in an asylum, I love that. I love that. That was, like... Because this is what it's always been about. That's what the whole thing. And now, so I just really quick, the ending sat well with me, especially after the second time.
Yeah, I went with
really
it.
Beautiful.
I'm sorry for
no, that's fine.
I went with it like from the start. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And what really sold me was, I'll interject here, that Mr. Glass, he really, he's like, he gets introduced a little late in the film. But he carries this movie, and he is just... I love Samuel Jackson in this movie, and he just is like so sympathetic. You feel for him, even though he's not a hero. Would you say he's not a hero?
No, he's a protagonist, but he's not a hero.
He's definitely villainous.
He's a murderer.
He's a murderer.
Make no mistake.
But you
there's
feel...
There's no way in hell you're going to convince me that he's the good guy.
But they don't... Yeah, he's not the good guy. Like, they don't romanticize him. Like,
no. There's
like Joker, someone you sympathize with him. Would you agree?
I think Shyamalan's greatest asset and arguably weakness with stuff like Lady in the Water is his empathy, and that he cares so much about the people he's portraying on screen.
Yeah, it has a lot of empathy for Elijah Price, and Samuel Jackson just did like wonders as a character, because I feel there's a lot of himself in that character as well as a comic book fan, and if you listen to a lot of like Samuel Jackson's like interviews, he really loves comic books, and like it feels like a lot of himself is in Elijah, and the character means so much to him.
Well, him and Bruce Willis of all people, kept going to Shyamalan like, we're making that sequel, man, for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. But my only thing is that I don't know. The way that I felt about it is that you had these characters, and these characters have finally accepted who they are, and they finally are taking up the mantles that they are. And I get Kevin's death. Kevin's death makes sense. Elijah's death, it makes sense. But just the idea of you have your titular hero character, and you drown him in a puddle. Because those two deaths, I was fine with. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, whatever.
As soon as that happened,
that was the moment that I was like, I don't like it. Like, that was the death that I was like.
Here, let him finish.
Because I'm okay with him dying. I just didn't like the idea of you kind of got rid of him like he was garbage. Like you got this character and you've been torturing him the entire movie, and he's been questioning his own sanity, and he's been questioning everything like that. And the minute that he finally comes to this realization that he is a superhero, and I do have a duty, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to protect them. He doesn't die like a hero, or he doesn't die trying to protect anybody. He dies in a puddle, in a pothole.
Drowned.
Yeah. They drown him in a pothole, and they just shove his head into it. And I was kind of like, I would have been okay with it if like Kevin would have drowned him, weakened him, and then like stabbed him or something like that. And he would have died.
Or
they both would have died together. They both took each other
out. Like Doomsday and Superman.
Yeah,
no, you know why? That's absolutely the wrong thing for this movie. Because it's not a comic book. Not to like just paraphrase the movie to divert the argument, but I genuinely believe that. I don't know if I fully disagree with you, Nick, but I do think the idea of David Dunn dying in just such a pointless manner, essentially, is the point Shyamalan's making. Because
where else would this go?
Where else would it go? But also that the real heroes of this movie are the people who stood alongside. The
people who believe.
They're supporting cast.
Yeah, they're supporting cast, yeah. They're the real heroes. They're the ones, they're the victims. They're the people that have been through it all alongside them and now can share that story so other people don't have to be contained and suffer like they did.
Yeah. I get that. I do get that. But I just feel like the drowning of a hero is always just like, it just put a bad taste in my mouth, where I was like, it's not that it's a bad ending or anything like that.
It's not your cup of tea.
It's not my cup of tea.
I can get that.
It's definitely not my cup of tea, especially.
It's particularly nasty, even for Shyamalan. That guy's got a mean streak to him.
Yeah, I just didn't like that. I didn't like the concept of just, all right, cool, we're just gonna fucking murder everybody. Like that's just the way we're gonna end this movie.
But again, it's not like a flippant decision that was made.
But the thing is that I know that. Even like a lot of people that were in the movie theater, because I heard a couple people in the movie theater were like, "Oh, I thought he didn't die." I honestly was waiting for him. Like I'm let down because I was waiting for him to appear in the restaurant or appear like David Dunn to show up or something like that.
Takes revenge.
Like not necessarily he takes revenge, but he brings them to justice, or he stops the cult or something like that. Like your hero would rise and stuff like that. And
Glass,
kind of like
Mr. Glass.
Mr. Glass
saves the day.
is a protagonist, but I wouldn't call him a hero.
No.
But I think it is
he Rorschachs.
in a long he Rorschachs it. In the
the
long run of the trilogy. What a perfect ending for that character, because he's born into a world that cannot it doesn't want to embrace him for his brittle bones and all that jazz, right? We got to wrap up in a minute, so I'll try to make this point quick. But he's born into a world that doesn't care about him, and he's forced to create his own identity. And the only way he knows how to do that is through comic books and that mythology. And so to have him be defeated by this force, physically defeated by this force that tried to contain him, he gets the last laugh, the upper hand in revealing that
superheroes are real,
that these people exist,
mm-hmm.
and that people are what they believe they are, and that even though he was a murderer and a bad person, his last act was to make sure no one ever has to go through what they went through again. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really, really profound ending, and I'm not surprised people hate it. When I walked out of the movie with Gene, I was like, oh man, people are going to hate that.
But some people, people have been a little more receptive than we thought they would.
That's absolutely true. Some people that I thought would hate this thing, I was like, hey man, that was really good. And I was like, I'm shocked.
But that's the thing though, is that I liked the movie. I loved everything all the way up until the minute that they hold him down and they drown him. I think that was the moment that I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, you disagree.
I was like, I disagree with that.
But it doesn't seem like you're out. It seems like you just disagree with the ending.
I did.
Well, the ending as a whole, apart from Bruce Willis drowning, let's say that the exhaustion, because it kind of set up that he's just getting old and may not be able to do it that long.
Dark Knight Returns.
He just kind of gives out after the fight, right? Like you get a Dark Knight Returns type ending for David Dunn.
Yeah.
Would that have suited you better if the rest of the ending played out the same too?
If he would have just, honestly, if he would have just kind of like faded off, if it was just pure exhaustion, like I used every bit of energy to stop,
And then he collapses.
to stop him, and then he collapses, and then it's kind of like I gave my life to stop the big bad and stuff like that. And the ending would have played out exactly the same way. I'd have been fine.
Yeah.
I would have.
That's your final statement?
I would have loved the movie if that was the case. If that was, because that for me feels like more of a suitable ending, because by just kind of drowning him, you gave everybody else such meaningful endings, but David Dunn, you didn't. You just got his weakness and you drowned him with it.
Yeah, I feel
And the only thing that you left him with is knowing that this was going to happen no matter what, that the person that he was like going to trust.
Yeah. Final points here.
Had been fooling him the whole time, stuff like that. And I just thought it was like a really dour ending of just kind of like,
it was crazy dour for him, but it's, he loses, the survivors win though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it is ultimately very tragic. All these are very, very sad movies.
Yeah.
And I think rewatching them is like
definitely
emotionally draining me.
Yeah. Wrapping up.
But yeah, no, I do gotta disagree with Nick. Go ahead and then.
No, but I do like the idea of at the very end where he's just like, why would you do this? Like this is an ultimate edition of a comic book. And he's like, it's not an ultimate edition. It's an origin story. Mm-hmm. And it made sense. It was like, yeah, and it's not our origin story or anything like that. It's the origin story of every hero or any person that rises up after this and knows that they're not weird or they're not, like I understood that, and that was a really cool idea.
Just didn't work for you. All right. I think this is one of my favorite trilogies now. I'm happy to say it's a great series for anybody who feels like kind of an outsider. Shyamalan has a big ol' goofy heart, and he has a soft spot for people that might be othered by society. And I think this is his testament to embracing everyone for all their weird quirks and idiosyncrasies.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else, Gene?
No, I don't think so. Maybe just rewatch it.
Yeah, I intend to.
Yeah. I'm gonna rewatch it.
Yeah, Nick,
and this is just my thing. I didn't mean to like towards you.
I do. Fucking.
They're definitely rewatchable.
Nah. I get I totally get where you're coming from. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. So.
But we got to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for joining us on this weird, goofy episode where power will certainly go out at certain points. Yeah. Don't forget to check out LA. Nick, where can people find you?
You can find me on at the Nick Valero on Twitter, and you can find me at Nick Valero on Facebook.
And Gene?
You could find me on Twitter, Instagram, Gene9892.
And you could find me at Twitter as well at DEWO Waffles, Waffle Press. Like and subscribe if you didn't like this video. Like and subscribe because you might find something you do like other retrospectives. Yeah. Let's talk about movies, guests.